Twice in the last month, I looked down and saw the tops of birds. Once standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon, and once from the balcony of an Airbnb overlooking Vancouver. And both times, I had the exact same thought. How lucky am I to see this? Which is kind of amazing, right? I'm 38 years old. I've seen birds my entire life. I've watched them disappear into clouds. I've seen them land on power lines, walk across parking lots, steal food at the beach. Probably seen a million birds. Just never from above. And so, a few weeks ago, I hiked the Grand Canyon, a few miles down, then all the way back up. And if you've done that hike, you know something interesting happens on the way back. It's actually a beautiful thing. Life gets really simple. You're not thinking about your goals or your business or who's ahead of you. You're thinking about the next switchback, the next drink of water, the next patch of shade. It's one of the things I love most about doing challenging things. They strip away all that stuff that doesn't matter. All right, so made my way up, and when I got to the rim, I dropped my backpack, walked over to the edge, and I remember my breathing still intense, leaning on the rail for a second, looking out. People always tell you how beautiful the Grand Canyon is. And they're absolutely right. It's a stunning landscape. But I'm surprised to say it wasn't the beauty that stayed with me. What stayed with me was how quiet it made me. Not my surroundings, but inside. It's almost like your thoughts realize they're standing next to something much bigger than themselves. I stood there for a while, long enough that I stopped looking at the canyon, just started noticing things. And that's when I saw them. A few birds drifting through the canyon below me. Sun catching their backs, I could see the tops of their wings. I remember just smiling. I didn't think I'd discovered some profound truth or anything like that. It just felt odd. It was backwards. I just remember thinking this is not the way things should be. Eventually, picked up my backpack, got in the car, and that was the end of it. Then, a couple weeks later, I was in Vancouver. One night, walked out onto the balcony, city, settling down. You get that beautiful white noise, trains somewhere in the distance, a few headlights moving through the streets below. It's like that quiet hum cities have before they finally fall asleep. And I'm painting this picture because it just felt surreal, And then as I lean on the railing, sure enough, again, the tops of birds. And I laughed. It's like, you again. Watched them go by and thought, this must mean something, right? It, moved me. Another thought that, let's face it, most people would find pretty mundane. Probably see it and forget about it 5 minutes later. The more I thought about it, the more, I became convinced that the greatest reward wasn't standing where I was standing, whether it's Vancouver or the top of the Grand Canyon. It was how differently I could see. That's what climbing, literally and metaphorically, has always given me. Not just mountains. In life, every season I've grown the most, every challenge I didn't think I could handle, every difficult situation, every failure and success, they all did the same thing. They didn't just change my circumstances. They changed where I was standing. And where you stand changes, what you see changes too. That's one of life's greatest gifts. Not that it gives us new worlds, but that it keeps giving us new ways to see the world we're already living in. I didn't hike the Grand Canyon hoping to see the tops of birds. If you asked me to predict what I'd remember most, I would have said the view, the challenge, making it back to the top, not birds. But life has a habit of working that way. The moments that stay with us are rarely the ones we plan for. We chase one thing and come home carrying another. And so now, when I find myself somewhere high, I look down. Sometimes there are birds, sometimes there aren't, but I always look. Not because I'm hoping to see them again, but because they remind me of something I never want to forget. The world is always bigger than the place we're standing. There's always another angle or lesson, another version of ourselves waiting somewhere we've never been. The greatest reward was not where I was, it was how differently I could see. And maybe that's what keeps calling us to climb. Not the summit, not even the accomplishment. It's like, it's the chance. Every once in a while, to stand somewhere we've never stood before, long enough to see something we've never seen before. And for me, it was the tops of birds. Every once in a while, there's a point where you're looking in the mirror and you realize you've let go of the rope. Right? You were climbing, you were ascending, and moving on to bigger, better, faster, all the things. But then life happened. Maybe you were traveling, there's disruption, you get sick, you sleep in, right? Hit that alarm clock or that snooze button and you tell yourself just this once. But I think we've been there when once becomes twice becomes 3 times. Suddenly, what was second nature now feels like you're climbing a mountain barefoot. Momentum is a lot like fire. It takes time to build, an effort to cultivate, energy to sustain, but only a moment of neglect to flicker out, right? And once that darkness settles in, you start asking yourself all the wrong questions. Well, what's the point? What if I don't have it in me anymore? Do I even have to live like that? What if I was really never that person to begin with? Because the mind is funny like that. It doesn't fight for your potential, it fights for comfort. It wants to take that temporary stumble and build it into a home. It wants to consistently build walls around you. In fact, I would go as far as to say, there's dissonance between where your heart wants to go, where your soul wants to take you, and where some of the most precious things in life are directing you. Your biology wants you safe. It doesn't need you pushing your limits or maxing out your potential. Societally, it's much easier to blend in, to be average. Even friends and family, the ones that love us most, right? There's innately interest in their part on you being safe and secure, which is fine, but all these things lead you to a status quo, not excellence. Excellence in my eyes is something that is derived from the self. It's a journey that you have to green light. And so where am I going with this? Well, I'm just coming out of a, we'll say, less than ideal stretch. It's not a remarkable story. It's not going to knock your socks off, but I think you'll find it relatable, right? Where a few weeks ago, everything was firing on all cylinders in, I want to say, all aspects of life, right? In rhythm, dialed in, early mornings, deep work, hitting the gym, spending time with people I care about, all things good, right? Had my hands on the wheel. And then something so small, so seemingly insignificant knocked me off course. Some type of respiratory virus. Nothing serious, enough to keep me in bed for a few days. But in that time, your discipline, focus, habits, all those things you sort of have to fight to cultivate, they can go out the window. They're allowed to unwind because you're telling yourself you'll get back on track and you need this, right? You deserve this. You work hard, right? So the symptoms go away after 3 days, but energy's a little bit down. And you're looking at the gym and you're going, you need the rest. You're looking at those creative ideas, they can wait. Right? You start sleeping in, start hitting the snooze button. And essentially an active choice to recover becomes an unconscious choice to retreat. At some point, you're not healing anymore, you're hiding. And you feel it, right? Just in your bones, there's less excitement, there's less energy. You sort of know you're lying to yourself and not keeping the word that you gave to yourself. It's a bad feeling. You start to internalize that. People follow through on who they believe themselves to be. That's why every step is so important. It's earning that confidence. It's reaffirming that commitment. And without that, life just feels like it's missing something. And so this morning, a very intentional walk outside changed everything. And I know that's anticlimactic. I know it sounds trivial. Good. That is the point. It's so easy to turn things around, right? But as Jim Rohn has said, it's also very easy to continue the same pattern and same habits. That's why it's so hard to change. Not because change is hard, but because staying the same is so damn easy. But here's the message. Here's what I needed, and here's what I'd love to offer up to you in case you find yourself in one of these slumps, or maybe just not firing on all cylinders. That chapter of life or season where you know you're leaving a part of you on the table. Here it is. Life is not about perfection. It's about returning. Our innate ability to rise from the ashes, like a tide returns to shore, or the sun rises no matter how long the light lingers, like a song finding its melody after the notes have scattered. It was all there. It was never broken. The pieces existed. You just happened to step away from that fire for too long. But fires, they don't permanently die. They just need tending to. So wherever you are, you don't need to rebuild the castle. No, at least not today. And that's important to understand. That's important to know. Because if you convince yourself you have to leap a mile, you'll get discouraged and you'll quit. It's a longevity game. You need to pick up the first stone. That's the beauty of momentum. It doesn't ask for everything at once. Just one step, one action, one promise kept. And perhaps this is me standing at the bottom of the mountain again, looking at that summit as it feels so far away. My legs may be a little weaker than they were 2 weeks ago, but I know how the story goes. I've been here before. And every great comeback, from the small, seemingly trivial, all the way up to tasks as grandiose as the mind can imagine, they all start the same way. They start with choosing to begin. Every adventure starts before the trail does. The decisions you make before you leave end up shaping the experience in totality. I found that true with nutrition as well. When I'm hiking, traveling, or just in the middle of a busy day, I love having something in my backpack that makes the right choice, the easy choice. That's why I'm bringing David bars with me 10 times out of 10. Their gold bars have 28 grams of protein, just 150 calories, and 0 grams of sugar, giving them one of the highest protein to calorie ratios of any leading protein bar. Makes my protein goals a whole lot easier without adding unnecessary calories and sugar. While the macros are definitely what got my attention, the taste is what keeps me coming back. My favorite, you ready for this, is the cookie dough caramel chocolate crunch flavored bar. Tastes like a candy bar with obviously much better macros. Look, consistency is built in those small decisions you make before the moment arrives. For me, throwing a David bar in my backpack is absolutely one of them. If you'd like to give it a try, head over to davidprotein.com/Eddie. Buy 4 cartons, get the 5th one free. Again, that's davidprotein.com/Eddie. Back to the show. Sometimes moving forward takes courage. Like, a lot of courage. Like, more courage than you even think exists within you. But here's the deal. Courage you have, and you have it in spades. I was recently, after a long networking event, having dinner with my friends Solara and Eli, and both incredibly kind, generous, successful people. And we're kind of catching up as we're eating. And suddenly from across the table, Eli says, "Eddie, I feel called to share this story with you." And, obviously I said, "Please, I'm all ears." And his story started well before he was a mover and shaker in the real estate world, well before he was as confident and polished as he is now. And he talks about his mid-20s being homeless, right? Living in a hammock behind the local convenience store, scraping together quarters for food. And how some days it was incredibly difficult on his pride. Being handed change by passersby. Some of them he knew, were struggling just like he was. And one day, Eli decided, I don't want to do it anymore. The pain was too much and hope felt like a mirage. And so that night he planned to take his life. And he said he probably would have had it not been for a call with his sister, who convinced him on the phone to see just one more sunrise. One more sunrise. So he does. The next morning, he wakes up. He's walking through a parking lot. Someone walking by said to a friend, "I love my life." And he said he remembers hearing that and, kind of scoffing and in a mocking manner repeating it back. "Yeah, I love my life." But as he did, he noticed something. As he repeated those words, he felt good. For the first time in a long time. Even if it was only for a few seconds. But sometimes a few seconds is enough, and this time a few seconds was enough. Enough for him to say, one more day. We'll give this one more day, maybe tomorrow. And tomorrow, as the sun came up, turned into one more day, which turned into another day, which turned into weeks, months, and years where he exists today, not only incredibly successful, but a sharer of the message. He had a sign made that said, "I love my life," as a reminder to himself and to help others in the same spot. "I love my life," he said again at the table, looking up, with tears in his eyes and a smile on his face. See, when you're in those moments, and trust me, I know how dark they can be, it feels like life is asking you to do more than you can, to pull a rabbit out of a hat or create some unheard of larger-than-life solution. But the truth is, in those moments, you simply need to find the courage to continue forward. Into the chaos, one more time. One more day, one more sunrise. Not for what you might find, but for what you might remember. What you already know. That life is beautiful. That sure, sometimes the skies are painted gray and the horizon's just not visible from your vantage point. But that isn't an indicator that reality is void of meaning. It doesn't suggest there aren't better days ahead. No, it means you have to put your head down and keep walking. right into the storm, right through the chaos, blazing your own trail through the abyss. Like you own it, right? And you won't know why. It'll feel stupid. At times, yeah, you'll feel alone and helpless. Life will feel desolate. But here's the thing. You can. You are equipped with the courage to count those sunrises. You're armed with the strength to simply walk into the night. Because here's what will happen. There's going to be a point where the rain stops and the sky's clear, where everything opens up. The path will make sense and you'll trust more than ever to walk it. You'll have earned that confidence. You'll have seen firsthand that you are capable of moving mountains. Not by performing miracles, but by placing one foot in front of the other. Sometimes it's that simple. Not easy, but simple. I love my life. Say it. Even when you've forgotten, even when you can't remember why. I love my life. Say it when hope is lost, when the path is unclear, when you look around and wonder if there's anything even worth pursuing. Say it. Because it will take your hand and lead you forward. That's your Super Bowl. Not a miracle, but that step forward. One more sunrise. And if you can do it now, when the walls feel like they're caving in, when the sky feels like it's crashing down, if you find the courage in this moment, you'll begin that journey into the depths of your soul. The ride to what's ahead. The better days assembled just beyond the confines of the present moment. Often courage is required of us when it's most difficult to reach in and find it. But it's there. So take it. Allow yourself to be that person you were meant to be. I love my life. So I wake up, my feet hit the ground, I get out of bed, walk into the bathroom, turn on the sink. I look up, stare at the reflection in the mirror. It's time to rise, the voice says. I stop, I think about it for a second. The reflection continues to speak, so I listen. It says, Eddie, life has placed some obstacles before you, some valleys. Some of it was your doing, some of it's just life, but all of it is yours now. We get in life what we allow. And pain, the internal turmoil, that's a sign that you may just be letting the wrong things live alongside you. The wrong thoughts, actions, ideas, stories, people, and places. That reflection, he continued to share. So I listened. Eddie, here are some reminders. Take note. 1, time is the most valuable currency you have, period, bar none. Be more methodical about how you use it. Right? This is not new, but rather a recalibration. That little thing in your pocket, that phone, that portal, yes, the same one you use to share, conduct business, get your thoughts out into the world, the same one that's changed your life, it's also crushing you. If you don't reel in your time on that little device, the consumption, the mindless scrolling, the time that you do have, you'll be fighting for mere adequacy. Shut it off. Go reread Cal Newport's deep work. Reread Relentless by Tim Grover. Remind yourself what greatness truly requires, the concentration, the focus, the effort. Go. Remind yourself. Number 2, there are seasons of life. There are times to sprint and there are times to pace yourself. Times to explore and times to plant a stake in the ground. Times to tear down and times to build up. Don't define yourself by the season you are in. You just walked away from a lot. You, in many ways, are restarting. You, as the saying goes, step back to leap forward, and now you're here. So remember, you are not the struggles of the past month or 2 months. You are where you go from here. You are your very next step. You are all of the opportunity before you. Number 3, ambitious people tend to look forward. Often, they live in that gap between where they are and where they want to be. Sometimes they only see the road ahead, and this can be good because it's a motivator, contributes to one's growth and mastery of a craft. That competition in the soul, that mastery of self that pushes one forward. But it can, if left unchecked, be just as dangerous as it is valuable. Look over your shoulder. Remind yourself how far you've come. Compare yourself to that. Compare yourself to 8 years ago and how bad you wanted to be where you are now. See what happens when that's the focal point. Number 4, when you're frustrated about an outcome or how far you have to go, remember, you're never as far away as you think. It's about reworking the minor details. No wheels need to be reinvented here. Breathe. Collect yourself. Ask yourself which dots need to be connecting. Because you're closer than you think to recapturing momentum. You're always an arm's reach away from that light switch that will illuminate the path you need. Just reach out and find it. Number 5, simplicity. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Stop making the simple things complex. You'll find yourself pulling your hair out about problems that are tangential at best to what really matters. The right things are simple. A happy, healthy, effective life is minimalist. Protect it. Preserve it. Keep the complexity out. Remove the clutter in your environment. Clutter in your thoughts. Revert back to what's simple because there, everything of value will emerge. And number 6, it can be right, but wrong for you. That means, in your case, it's wrong in totality. Look, there will always be available off-ramps. There will always be he did this and it worked, she did that and it worked. Stay true to you, in your world, your North Star. Even the people trying to help you, right? They can only advise on what they know, their experience. Their experience is not yours. This is the evolution of insanity. It calls for one to be crazy until they are quote-unquote experts, to be lost until they are found. And if you avoid pointing to other people for the answers and find the courage to carve out your own path, eventually people will point to you for the answers. And number 7, as a friend of mine once said, walk into every room like God sent you. You are there for a reason. You have something to offer, something to give, something precious. The world won't know that until you know that, until you live and breathe that, until you operate with conviction. Give yourself the respect you hope to be granted by other people. The reflection pauses one more time, looks at me through the mirror, and says, "It's time to rise." Life has given you some obstacles. It's placed some valleys before you. Some of those were dictated by life. Some of them are your fault, but they are all of it, every single piece, yours now. We get in life what we allow. And pain, the internal turmoil, that's a sign that you may just be allowing the wrong things to exist alongside you. The wrong thoughts, actions, ideas, stories, people, and places. So Eddie, I hope those reminders provided some clarity. I hope they reminded you who you are and that you already have what you need. It's time to rise. So go.